You think you've got my number figured out? A motive born in drought and brevity. And if I'm not the soul of your design, I blatantly decline your remedy. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. Don't box I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Tuesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Tuesday. Welcome, everybody. Michael has to welcome. You're going to get 10 inches. Indeed, we're expecting quite the we're expecting quite the storm to get to start here. Probably tomorrow night, I imagine. Anywhere from tomorrow night to Friday morning, I think, is when stuff is going to start ramping up. Probably Thursday, I think. Maybe it's when it's going to start. I should say not Wednesday. In any case, yesterday, unfortunately, I was not able to stream. But I do want to get in a quick stream before I head on out of here and start working on some preparations because we haven't had a storm like that since the time since moving here. Since moving here, basically. So reminiscent of the time where I used to work in where I used to live in Florida. You know what's ironic? The irony is that I think in the last like couple years, well, no, we did have one hurricane. Never mind. I was gonna say we've seen more hurricane. We're about to see one hurricane versus like in Florida we haven't seen any in the last couple years. But no, that's not true. In any case, this is not a false alarm. This is real. So we definitely are going to get a couple of things. Definitely now before tomorrow because tomorrow's not going to be possible. Depending depending on how things go. Depending on how things go, the stream will go on for as far as I know. The stream will go tomorrow. Unless something happens, unless otherwise. We had some fun ones in the 90s up in Norcross and down in Stone Mountain. Lots of tree damage. Oh, actually, I don't live that. I don't want to say that close, but I also don't live that far from Stone Mountain either. It's driving distance. So we're gonna definitely see something. As you mentioned earlier, I think the most thing to watch out for is the rain, which could cause some flooding and block some of the streets. So we'll have to see how that goes. I'm planning on staying here, hanging out, and if the power goes out, the power goes out. But the stream will go on as much as it can. All right, folks, let's get started since this is going to be a slightly smaller stream today. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Folks, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the follow button. It really does help us out. For those of you on the YouTube, keep liking the stream. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining on the YouTube. Keep liking the stream. Subscribe. 258 of you have done so. Thank y'all. And if you want to keep supporting the channel, there are many different ways. Hit up the merch store, folks. Hit up the merch store. We just made it a couple months ago. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice, I would say so if I do say so myself. And join the Discord this Saturday, folks. This Saturday is movie night. Movie night, folks. We are going to be streaming Crazy Rich Asians on Netflix. And we'll be doing it in the Discord. So if you want to participate, join. It's free, folks. All right, let's get started. Oh, and spread the word, folks. Spread the word that we are here Monday through Thursday. Bring a friend. Bring a friend, folks. Our stream has been doing pretty decent. Our stream has been doing pretty decent, so keep it up, folks. Keep it up. All right, we're going to start with this one because we were talking about this last time. On the last episode of ADT.
Full confidence that we can go on. We're getting resumes from all over. We're getting offers from all over. People are jumping in to help us. We've made a ton of friends in this thing since we've been in. A lot of talented people right now are reaching out to us, and we're right in the process right now of forming a team that we know can still lead us to victory. So we have full confidence in our ability to keep.
Narrator voice. They won't.
Keep going.
But the timing of that, them walking away from you right now.
The timing doesn't matter. It's not the timing. It's how you react, and we are ready to react, and we're doing it right now.
Yeah, sure, bud.
You just heard from North Carolina's Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, whose campaign for governor just imploded in the aftermath of a CNN report about comments he made on a porn website in their message board, which we will absolutely be getting to, don't you worry. But first, I want to talk about his campaign's implosion because it is so catastrophic on so many levels, even though he's putting on a really happy face for cameras.
Republicans are still voting for him, but the independents are saying nah. Yeah, I think that pretty much tracks. that pretty much tracks. Which hopefully is enough to tank his chances.
As journalist Yashar Ali points out, high-level staffers have resigned en masse, including his campaign manager, his deputy campaign manager, along with his senior advisor and finance director. This is so bad, and it's to the point where there are just about 3 campaign staffers left. We're talking about a statewide race here with less than 2 months left to go, and he has...
Yeah, a governor's race, no doubt, which a governor's mansion is important. Not just that, like, in a race that's in a election that is important because his ticket, he could single-handedly torpedo the rest of the Republican ticket there, including the top ticket, which works for me.
There's nobody working for him, so this is devastating to say the least. And to make matters worse, as the National Review reports, the Republican Governors Association has completely cut him off. They've canceled a fundraiser with him, and they're not doing ad buys for him any longer. And to add insult to injury, Trump did a rally in North Carolina and reportedly didn't invite Mark Robinson and didn't even mention Mark Robinson's name once. So Mark Robinson is up shit creek without a paddle, and he's now scrambling to try to pick up the pieces of his failing campaign, but I actually think it's just too late. Even if he could rebuild his...
like that is pretty much my assessment. I think he's done. I think bro is cooked. I think that was the final nail in the coffin. It was a pretty close race. And I'm seeing that the polls, at least for now, are showing that the Democratic candidate is favored to win. I think he's done. I think he's cooked. I'll call it right now. I've seen it. I've seen enough. We will vote Trump here, but kick Robinson out and split the ticket. You know, I could see that, honestly. The question is, like, will this be so bad that it could imperil Trump's chances? I guess that's something we'll have to see. Because I could see that. I could see that happening. But I can definitely say with confidence that Mark Robinson is cooked.
His entire campaign infrastructure within 2 months, he's lost the trust of Republicans in that state. He ran as an anti-LGBTQ plus family values Republican who is the ultimate hypocrite. And in the aftermath of his campaign imploding, he's now...
Right, like it's the classic, it's a story as old as time, right? It's a story old. It's a story as old as time.
Out threatening CNN for breaking the story in the first place. And he's trying to get voters to not look at the details of the story because I think that he knows that if they saw the details and the evidence that CNN provided that links him to this account, it would be devastating. But here's what he's saying about CNN.
You've talked about the reporting being salacious lies, not true. Have you taken steps then to prove it's not you?
We
or
absolutely
find out?
are. We absolutely are. We're
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Mini soldier. I'm sure you are, mini soldier. Heat coming in hot with the tier 1 sub for 38 months. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it and welcome. You're coming in at a high time. You're coming in on a high time. Mark Robinson's campaign is imploding. Mark Robinson's campaign is imploding. His staff is leaving him. And this is what this is about. We'll get to the actual article in just a second, but it's always a high time when I'm here. Ha!
we're in talks right now, everything up to legal counsel to take CNN to task for what they have done to us. We are going after them. Okay, we are going to go after them for what they've done.
Okay, but what did they do though, right? Like the whole point is if it's fake, well then show evidence otherwise because then that story would need to be retracted. If you can't prove evidence, if you can't prove otherwise, but CNN proved that you were involved in these things, then like, I don't know what to tell you, my dude. Going on camera and pretending that you're all outraged, and meanwhile saying nothing effectively, doesn't make me. It makes me think that the CNN reporting is 100% accurate, because like you wouldn't need to be doing this. You would just throw down the receipts and request a retraction because of the falsehoods, right? Good luck.
We have 5 weeks left in this race, folks, and make no mistake about it. We are not going to let CNN throw us off of our mission. Our mission is to win this race. And quite frankly, I am dismayed about the fact, as I said before.
Yeah, that's still not a denial, my dude. Like, that's still not a rebuttal, I should say. That's all cool and well. That's all fine and well, but none of that is evidence pointing to the contrary, dude. Okay? So, like, I don't know what to tell you, bro. You're cooked.
Think about how many people out there right now, right in the place where we are right now, who are
Nope. No, sir. That's still not a rebuttal. I will say only us big brothers can wear pink polo, though.
hooked on fentanyl,
Yeah, he is rocking the pink.
who are hooked on opioids. And how many will die tonight because of it?
Okay. That's still not a rebuttal, dude. Okay? Not a rebuttal, my guy. Deflect, deflect, deflect. Also, if you're so worried about like the opioid crisis and the opioid epidemic, what are you going to do about it exactly? Like, what's the plan here? Are you going to advocate for universal health care that includes support for people trying to get off opiates? No, of course not. You'd call that socialism. Are you going to advocate for funding of drug treatment care where people can access this for free? No, of course not. Are you going to alleviate the socioeconomic conditions that are in part responsible as well No, of course not. You would just call that socialism again.
Think about what's going on our border.
Subtle. Look, squirrel.
Yeah, exactly. Basically. Amazing.
I mean, isn't it amazing? It's so amazing.
I didn't watch the video. I did not watch this, okay? Just to be clear, I did not watch this.
Nothing can make you look more guilty than brazenly trying to just like distract by saying, oh, well, yeah, I know that this thing is really bad, but have you seen this other thing? It's so obvious. It's like the biggest tell ever. And side note, why does everything happen when I take a week off from politics? Like, I stopped making videos for 1 week. What you saw last week was all pre-recorded. And we didn't just get the Mark Robinson leaks. We got the Ashley Madison leaks that allegedly include the email address of Republican operative Chris Rufo.
Yeah, I didn't see too much of this, but like, man, you know, people are talking about the October surprise. The October surprise came early, okay? The October surprise came a couple weeks early.
As well as senior advisor Jason Miller to the Trump campaign. So there's that. And there's also
This is not surprising, though, is it? Not surprising at all.
Matt Gaetz story that came out where he allegedly attended a drug-fueled sex party for one of his lobbyist friends, and it turns out that a minor was also at that same party. Now, on top of that, journalist Olivia Nuzzi of New York.
Uh-oh. Man, is that investigation into Matt Gaetz still ongoing? Because, like, I feel like that would be important and of relevance given the accusations that he was facing. Maybe they will look into it.
Magazine was placed on leave for allegedly having an intimate relationship with RFK Jr. while covering his campaign, which is gross on so many levels. But I mean, why does this all have to happen when I'm not making videos? Really? Can we not wait for the big stories until I'm back? Fuck. But of course, you know, I digress. Let's talk about Mark Robinson, because he's losing support from Republicans and his own staffers because of how damaging the CNN story is. And by now, I'm sure that you've heard people talk about the story, but I have to get to these leaks because you can't understand why it's so bad for his campaign if you're not familiar with the leaks themselves. So if you haven't seen this, you know, or if you have seen this, skip ahead. I'll put some timestamps down below. But if you haven't seen these leaks yet, buckle up, because this is just a small taste of the things that he posted.
Wolfglen, welcome. By the time they look at the girl will be of age.
On that message board, CNN reports many of Robinson's comments were gratuitously sexual.
Yeah, like, I'm going to skip
slavery
that.
is right. You know, they talk about porn, of course, but it gets political sometimes. And when I say political, I mean real fascistic, actually Hitlerian. It's so wild. Now, there was also talk of him admitting to. And he said this about his wife's sister, apparently. Now, it hasn't been confirmed if he actually cheated on her. So I'm not going to kink shame, but like, this Dookie shoot, the Islamophobic slurs, the homophobic slurs, and the slander of MLK Jr., which is really ironic for the fact that Trump described him in the following way.
This is Martin Luther King on steroids, okay? Now, I told that to Mark. I said, I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King time.
I can't believe he actually said that. Like, I actually can't believe that Trump said that. That is wild. Nobody in their right mind would ever make that association. Times two.
He looked at me and I wasn't sure, was he angry because that's a terrible thing to say, or was he complimented? I have never figured it out.
Well, it turns out you have your answer, Trump. He was offended, but not for the reason you think he was. You know, when you say something like that, it's so stupid and racist that even Trump is like, is that stupid and racist? But no, he was offended because you compared him to MLK Jr., who he thinks is a commie bastard. That's what he said about MLK Jr. on this forum, too. But let's get to his response, because he's obviously denying it. Because
yeah, okay, there we go. Cognizant, I thought the October surprise was Netanyahu taking away America's safe word before escalating the U.S. military. Well, that's gonna happen. That's already happening, is it not? Israel has decided that, Netanyahu and his government has decided that they're going to expand this conflict by going at it with Hezbollah. Although, to be fair, I don't know if this has anything to do with our elections. I think it's more to do with him keeping power.
That's what Republicans do. But let's watch his denial that was recorded before the story was published. And I'm showing you this one because he's basically saying the same thing. But I'm going to show you what he says. And
I didn't actually watch this. I didn't watch this response video. Because we knew the Mark Robinson thing was dropping. So I guess he preemptively made a response to it, which is kind of weird. But okay. I didn't watch that, though.
then we're going to get to the evidence, and then I'm going to let you decide if he's telling the truth or not. But first and foremost,
he wants the GOP to have power so he can keep his. Yeah, I suppose so.
Here's his
that kind of tracks.
response.
Let me reassure you, the things that you will see in that story, those are not the words of Mark Robinson. You know my words, you know my character, and you know that I have been completely transparent in this race and before. Folks.
Wait, so why did you feel like you had to do a preemptive video? This was recorded before the CNN drop. This was recorded before this dropped.
This race right now, our opponents are desperate to shift the focus here from the substantive issues and focus on what you are concerned with to salacious tabloid trash.
Oh, yeah. So, listen, hey, if it's all fake, if it's all fake and this is all not true, and this is just salacious tabloid crap, okay? Number one, where did it get printed? It got printed on a, national newspaper. And number two, okay, if you feel like this is all fake and salacious tabloid reporting, then instead of making this preemptive response video, why not shed the truth and force CNN to make a retraction? If you provide evidence that you indeed are not Mini Soldier, that's the username that seems to be across this whole entire story. It is Mark Robinson's Mini Soldier username. If you can prove that, and I'm sure there are ways of proving that, then just drop it. Drop the receipts and make CNN do a retraction.
We cannot allow that to happen. And folks, we've seen this type of stuff in the past as well. Clarence Thomas famously once said he was the victim of a high-tech lynching. Well,
oh, man. Yeah. Which it turns out to be the case that, yeah. I also like how he doesn't look completely scared out of his mind here, right? Yeah, like the dead giveaway is the fact that he felt the need to preemptively record this. The things that you are about to read, don't believe them. Bro, what did you think was going to be in that?
Well, it looks like Mark Robinson is too, by a man who...
He said that, but yeah.
refuses to stand on stage and debate me about the real issues that face you. Instead, they want to focus on salacious tabloid lies. We're not going to let them do that. We are staying in this race. We are in it to win it.
So he is emphatically denying that those posts were made.
Oh, shoot, I did repost this. Huh.
By him. He never called himself a Nazi or talked about wanting Hitler to be the leader over Obama, never talked about pumping dookie shoots. Those posts were made by somebody, but it wasn't him, according to him. Okay. Let's look at the evidence courtesy of CNN, who broke the story. First and foremost,
Okay.
they're on Nude Africa, but it gets even more
Yeah, like this just gets... We went over
the
it
gag
enough.
a maggot phrase on Nude Africa, because that's like such a weird phrase that I don't think I've ever seen anybody else.
So we went over this, and it just... Like, the stuff that was there was just... Whoo boy. Preemptively recording his hostage video in a cubicle office in his local campaign center.
Account. It's just,
It's him.
they've got him, right?
Yeah.
He knows it.
And we went over it. Like, there's just like no way that this guy is not the username mini. I don't know what the actual pronunciation is, but like it sounds like and it looks like Mini Soldier.
Republicans know it. His staffers know it. Hence why they're abandoning him en masse. And he has like 3 people left at the time that I record this video, unless that's changed. Don't think he's going to get many volunteers right now, right? And if he does get people sign up for him who still want him to win just because, they want him over the Democrat, not going to be the most experienced or talented people, especially when you've got a couple months left till November. So he's already down in the polls, right? He was down before the scandal came out. So the question is, what exactly is going to happen now? Can't really drop out because it's too late. Yet, he has no time to rebuild his campaign. So what are they going to do? Well,
Nothing. They're done. It's done. Personally, I'm calling the governor's race. I'm gonna say that it's done.
question really is, what the fuck can they do? They're just chalking this up to a loss. Republicans just have to accept this one's an L for them. And I don't blame them, because at this point, this really is a lost cause. I mean, could he still theoretically win? Sure, it's America, so anything's possible, but it's bad. This is so bad. I don't know that we've seen something like this with regard to a campaign in modern American history. I mean, there's been scandals, but everybody is leaving him. The Republican Governors Association is abandoning him. Donald Trump, who's been found liable for rape, is like, even I don't want anything to do with that guy. He tried to overthrow the last election, and Trump's like, that's a bridge too far even for me.
The question is, will he go born again and beg forgiveness from God, or will his GOP persona of never say you were wrong win out? Yeah, no, I'm thinking that I'm thinking the latter. He's already saying like he didn't do any of this. He's emphatically denying that all of this happened, despite the overwhelming evidence. So I'm gonna go with the second option. He doesn't have to. Now it's a new era. Yeah, it's a new era. It's the post-truth era, where truth and reality don't actually matter. So yes, I will agree and go with number 2.
Things are bad. And listen, when I first did a video talking about him, I said that he made Marjorie Greene look sane, and that's so true. But I mean, if he were to win, it would be a new low for the GOP, but thankfully his own hypocrisy came back to bite him in the ass in such a massive way that I don't think anybody could have predicted this. I don't think that he would have expected his old forum posts on.
Yeah, because like, man, the reason why is because this has been so freaking normalized. Like, how many times have we seen stories like this? Not maybe not to this degree, but like we've seen like snippets or similar types of things like this, where like Republican, it'll come out that like Republican candidate for whatever is a massive hypocrite, and actually he's whatever. Like it'll come out a story similar, not maybe not to this degree, because this is a whole other thing. But like after years and years of this, like people have just, I guess, become numb. And this one kind of, I guess, was a bridge too far. Post-shame era, actually. Post-truth was decades ago. Post-truth era began in 1971.
On a porn website that's really obscure to be dug up by journalists, but it happened. And it's a pretty common phenomenon as far as GOP politicians are concerned when it comes to like their hypocrisy blowing up in their faces. But again, I don't know that.
Right, but like, people, like the thing is, I think maybe he'll say this in the next, maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but like where I was going with that train of thought was that like, it doesn't hurt them. It doesn't hurt them. Like stories like this can come out and it doesn't hurt them. This time, though, is different. This time is different.
It's blown up in any Republican's face this badly, this close to an election, right? At least in modern history. But damn, does it feel good to watch it happen. So yeah, Mark Robinson, he's still going strong, not going anywhere according to him, but we'll see what happens. I'd be curious to know how well he does. Will Republicans stick with him, even though he's the ultimate hypocrite? He says he's pro-family values, very much is not in favor of family values, deeply anti-Semitic, homophobic, transphobic while watching trans porn. There's just so much there that anyone who supports him, I just feel like you have to admit you're not a serious person. But look, I'm sure he's going to get some votes still. We'll see what happens, but it's going to be interesting to watch him try to pick up the pieces because, man, is this fucking bad for him.
Yeah. Good to know there is a bridge too far. So, it does not help with his base that he is black. Saying all that, it could confuse them. So on that note, we'll get into the actual story. Top staffers of Mark Robinson's campaign quit after reports of the offensive remarks. Several employees of Mark Robinson's campaign to become North Carolina's next governor have quit their posts after a media report found compelling evidence that the Republican candidate previously described himself as a black Nazi, spoke favorably of reinstating slavery, and shared other disturbing thoughts. That's a nice way of putting it on a prawn message forum, which we had the pleasure of going through some of it. If you actually want to check out the CNN report, like directly, if you want to check out like the direct article from CNN, go to the Discord. I actually posted it there, and I put it in a spoilers because some of the stuff that's in there is pretty heinous. But if you want to check out the CNN article, there's a link to it on the Discord for those of you who dare. Yeah, it's a pretty it's definitely a TW story. So go in there and at your own risk. But I did put it in the hidden feature, like the spoiler feature. I appreciate the efforts of these team members who have made the difficult choice to step away from the campaign, and I wish them well in their future endeavor, Robinson said in a news release. So everything's fine, folks. Nothing to see here. One of the departing officials, Conrad Progowski III, a senior advisor, helped Robinson win the election as North Carolina's lieutenant governor in 2020. Pogorowski later became Robinson's chief of staff and said that he, along with others from the campaign, have left of our own accord. The resignation came 3 days after CNN reported that Robinson apparently authored a prawn forum post which expressed a preference in Adolf Hitler over the president at the time, Obama. He also called Martin Luther King worse than a maggot and said he would certainly buy a few enslaved people if he wished, if slavery were reinstated. Among other things, yes. Hi, I love watching Mike on the Humanist Report every week. Hey, Tattoo Lover, welcome. Yeah, Mike is great. he's also on the Leftist Mafia podcast, which I think they do. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is the Leftist Mafia podcast on Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. or Thursdays at 8:30 p.m.? One of the two. Just one of the two. Polls show that Robinson is trailing his Democratic opponent, Josh Stein, in the polls, but in a statement on Sunday, Robinson said the survey had underestimated the Republican support for North Carolina for several cycles. Sure. Thursdays, there you go. Thank you. Quote, I am confident that our campaign remains in a strong position to make our case to the voters and win in the November 5th election, he added. Yeah, sure, dude. Copium to the max. I think it's at 8:30 p.m. It's late, though, when it comes to East Coast time. Because I always think it's Fridays and get mad that I missed it. Oh, man. Well, just think of it this way. After you're done with my stream, which is Friday Junior, for me, it's basically the end, right? The end of the week is Thursday, as far as stream goes. Then you hop on over to the Leftist Mafia in an hour and a half afterwards, or in an hour afterwards. Stein appeared on Sunday. CNN State of the Union asserted that Robinson was utterly unqualified, unfit to be the governor of North Carolina. Lindsey Graham, Republican senator of South Carolina. True, I have time for that. Republican U.S. Senator of South Carolina said on Sunday on NBC's Meet the Press that Robinson deserved the chance to defend himself against the reporting of CNN. Oh, come on, dude. Come on. But Graham called Robinson a political zombie if he does not offer a defense that is credible. Dude. Senior state legislative leaders are concerned that any association with Robinson could affect the polling in November. Yet further up the political scale, those who on Sunday attended a rally in support of Trump and appeared to be unmoved even as the former president endorsed Robinson as he pursues a return to the White House. Bob Judson, a 70-year-old unaffiliated voter, told the Washington Post he didn't put much credence into the allegations of Robinson. We've all done things in our past that we're sorry for. Some of the things that are some of the things are crazy. It's not that the things in the past, it's not what he did necessarily. Is the fact that like he's not sorry for it. Okay? He's not sorry for it. He hasn't changed. And he very much seems to to be okay with the comments because he's never disputed them. All he said is that these are salacious lies and it's not me. Okay, dude, prove it. Never mind about my bridge too far comment. Well, that didn't apply to this particular guy. Funny joke about Lindsey Graham. I wonder if he can drive his car well to Congress because of his age. I don't get it. I think he's just calling him old. Rose Cannon, 69, told the outlet that Robinson was a very positive, strong man. Now, quote, now that this has happened, I don't know. We'll hear through it and see what we think. While Trump has not responded to CNN's claims about Robinson, his running mate, J.D. Vance, said it was better to let these things play out sometimes in the court of public opinion. Vance is due to hold a rally in Charlotte, North Carolina on Monday as the Republican presidential ticket hopes to move on from the Robinson episode. No, I think that this needs to be brought up at every chance. On Sunday, Ohio Senator posted a comment on social media that sought to blame inflation on Kamala Harris, the vice president, because she totally has an eye on that, and Democratic presidential nominee, saying that that's my comment on Mark Robinson. Yeah, phenomenal. Deflect. Let's not talk about that because that's a bit inconvenient. So the Surfs posted this earlier today. C-SPAN good to eat. I've been watching since I was a kid. C-SPAN, like the channel? Yeah, that's where you should get your news from, okay? Apart from here. As the serfs have pointed out here, a video has been unearthed. Oh, I meant good to watch typo. Yes. Yes. C-SPAN is fine. As the serfs pointed out here, a video has shown up with Matt Walsh really bringing home the whole Christo-fascism. So just to be clear, like when he puts on his bio, theocratic fascist, that is not a joke. That is not sarcasm. That is not meant to be fake in any way, shape, or form. He genuinely is a Christo-fascist. And here he is proving that.
Yes, I'm going to make the...
Yeah, fully, mask fully off, exactly.
Yes, I'm going to make the case that for a white settler in the 1800s, or a pilgrim in the 1600s, or an explorer, conquistador in the 1500s, for them to have racist attitudes was not that those racist attitudes were not as bad.
Let me stop you right there. Okay. Have you seen like how they talk about the indigenous population, dude? I was once on C-SPAN in the morning when they talked about our first protest. Mine was against a nuclear power plant going on my future high school in 2003. Huh. That's interesting. Fun fact, I've never made the news for protesting.
As the racist attitudes that you might find today.
In comparison to today, come on, bro.
For most of us, being racist was never even really like an option. We grew up in a world where
Society, yeah. It was part of the Washington Journal program on C-SPAN. That's pretty cool. Fun fact, I'll never admit if I made the news.
For a lot of us anyway, we grew up in an environment where it just never even came up. It never even...
Hey, Matt, real quick. What environment did you grow up in? Real quick. Because I would like to have a real American dollar wager about that environment.
It never even occurred to most. It never even occurred to me. Perhaps they...
Right. And then proceeds to talk about indigenous people as brute savages. But it doesn't even occur to him. You know what I mean? It doesn't even occur to him.
Engaged in practices that are to us horrifying and incomprehensible and brutal and savage.
Hey, real quick, what were the practices of the Spanish Inquisition? I wonder. I'm just curious. Can we take a 5-second? Like, this is the problem. Like, people will genuinely like nod their heads to this, and genuinely believe this. Hey, real quick, what were the civilized practice of the Spanish Inquisition? Can we get a quick Google search on that? Because I would bet that it was pretty freaking gruesome if you've ever actually studied any history, which Matt has not. Matt has not. No one escapes the Spanish Inquisition. Now I got to do it. Oh wait, no, it's no one expects the Spanish Inquisition, right? Is that what it is?
Shopping for a used car involves a lot of numbers.
No, I'm not
Here are the
shopping for a
ones that
new
matter
a
to
new
Echo
car.
Park.
No.
73,000
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
There you go. Yeah, no, it would be it would be TOS if I actually like look up the type of stuff that the Spanish Inquisition, that the Spanish were actually engaging in to the native indigenous population here. Like, you want to talk about brutal? You want to talk about a brutal, barbaric freaking practice? Look up the kind of stuff that was happening during the Spanish Inquisition. Yeah. Welcome, General Strike. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. I went to a medieval torture museum in Germany once. It was indescribable. That's a word. That's a good word for it. Good news was the power plant never went on my future high school, and the company that tried to put it on the high school was Con Edison.
Which, you know, some of the pioneers and settlers and conquerors, they would have seen, that's how they would have seen human sacrifices and scalping and cannibalism. But if we were to encounter that with this with this hypothetical alien race, who, you know, they look a lot like us, but they're also profoundly different in how they.
Bro, I love how like he immediately makes a hypothetical in his mind where he immediately like puts indigenous people as some kind of alien race that are not human. That are not human. The Spanish Catholics are pretty scummy. They committed unspeakable horrors against the indigenous people in the California mission system. Yeah, it's pretty freaking bad. Like, I wouldn't even post or talk about the kind of stuff that they would engage in here. I was spokesman for truck driving safety once. I participated in a game show for geniuses and got interviewed by CTV regarding the benefits, detriments of having my city being a sanctuary city during the Iraq. Hint, I was for receiving the refugees. Nice.
They look. They're very different in how they act, how they speak, their customs and everything. If that were to happen for us, there would be a very real debate among us about whether or not these creatures are equal to us.
Mind you, again, in his hypothetical, he's describing indigenous people as creatures and an alien race that looks human but isn't. What a freaking scumbag.
That would not be a given under any circumstance. I'm talking about looking at our ancestors in context, in perspective, and accepting that there were great men and women.
Yeah, okay. Looking at the ancestors in context, you can tell that this was unbelievably brutal, the kind of stuff that they engaged in. And the reasoning behind it too. You know how we know this? Because even people within their time frame, like, yo, chill. We have books about this. About Columbus and what was the guy's name who was pretty freaking brutal? My God. It was, was it Francisco de Soto? It was one of these conquistadors. That even the father, the names escape me. We're like, yo, this dude's way too brutal. The names escape me of all this. Da Gama, maybe. And the names escape me. But the point being is that, like, even in context, like, there are people in back then who were like, yo, this is not okay. So, like, this is all just nonsense that, like, well, put in the context, put in the context, like, that was just, like, cool, you know, back then. Like, we just, just saw people as an alien race, as creatures. Yeah, no. My mom's boyfriend sees indigenous people as less than. I hate them. Indigenous people need help like the native Anu people of Japan.
In the past, even if they had flaws, even if they were racist, there were still...
What? You just said that racism wasn't as bad as today, wasn't it?
Great men and women, and we could learn...
Ah, yeah, the great men. Ponce, maybe I'm thinking of Ponce de Leon. No, I feel like it was de something. Francisco de Soto, maybe de Gama. I'm blanking. It was one of these people, or maybe I'm wrong altogether, and maybe you're right, Cognizant, because the names, the story is the same, but the name that applies to these figures, Francisco de Soto, Hernando de Soto. Yes, you're right. You're right. The names I have completely wrong, but there's this one particular conquistador that was so brutal that even his parish, I want to say, like the saint or whatever, the father, I was like, yo, this dude's too much. I was literally just reading it the other day. Columbus was no peach. No, he wasn't. Wasn't he also complained about to the Spanish crown? Wasn't he also complained about, like, hey, this guy was also pretty freaking bad. That he got complaints to the Spanish crown. Like, I'm like 90% sure that that's also a thing that happened. That Columbus was very brutal, and even he was complained about. Yeah, they took away his governorship in Hispaniola because of being too brutal and tyrannical. Like, Hernan Cortez, that's also fair game. Like, this dude was removed from governorship because he was too brutal and tyrannical. I'll bet most, if not all, those guys treated the native people as lesser beings. Yeah, in fact, he argues that the New World here in the Americas was uncivilized and lawless. So therefore, he needed to be as ruthless as he was. Yeah.
Learn quite a bit from them. We could learn...
Yeah, like, we could learn that, like, genocide is bad, which clearly is a lesson we have not learned as humanity. We could learn that maybe we don't have to adulate these people. Maybe we could learn that if we're reading history and what's the saying? If you're reading history and you're feeling proud, then you're not reading history. Does that make sense? We're studying Asian history right now, and those guys were way more advanced than the Europeans at the time. Awesome.
Learn positive lessons from them if we would look at them and stop turning them into cartoons and saying, oh, well, they were just all racist, so they were terrible, and that's all they...
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not just cartoons. It's not like just straw manning and making up like this. He's making it seem like we're making an outrageous claim when, like, literally there are documents as to, like, what they did.
They were. not understanding that by that logic, we have just dismissed everybody in history. Not just them, but everybody. If
that's not true, you can learn about stuff and have and draw lessons from reading the stuff that happened back then. Not to sit here and put them on a pedestal, which is weird in and of itself. If you're reading history and you're proud, you're ignorant.
On that basis, we can dismiss an entire person from the past, then we're dismissing basically everybody.
No, that's not how that works. Calling like the Spanish brutal and genocidal is not dismissing them. It's learning about what happened, learning the lessons, learning the lessons that happened, and reading about what happened to the indigenous people, reading what the history was behind that. What Walsh would want is for you to completely disregard all of that and just understand that the more civilized society won, and that's all there is to it. And so what if your entire people got eradicated? Too bad. I can see why a lot of people hate Lindsey Graham because he's Irish and Irish have too much power in Congress. I can assure you it's not because he's Irish. That's a very strange thing to say. You know what? I've seen this username before. Give me a second. Trying to think where I've seen the username like this. Or maybe not the same username, but the same line of text. That is a very strange comment. He followed last year. I've heard the same. Yep. No, but like not here, in a different channel. Not here. I've seen a similar message in a different channel. No, that's not how you do it. Well, I'll keep an eye on it because I've seen this person before. I've heard the same, yep. No, the more technologically advanced society won, not the more civilized one. So as Derek Bennett pointed out earlier, Haitian groups in Springfield file citizen criminal charges against Trump and Vance. The leader of a nonprofit representing the Haitian community invoked a private citizen right to file charges Tuesday against former President Trump and his running mate J.D. Vance over the chaos and threats experienced by Springfield, Ohio since Trump first spread false claims about legal immigrants there during a presidential debate. The Haitian Bridge Alliance had made the move after an action by the local prosecutors, said their attorney Subda Chandra of the Cleveland-based Chandra law firm. Charges brought by private citizens are rare but not unheard of in Ohio. Examples might be a grocery store charging a customer for a bounced check. State laws require a hearing to take place before affidavit can move forward. As of Tuesday afternoon, none has been scheduled. Trump and Vance, a U.S. Senator from Ohio, are charged with disrupting public services, making false alarms, telecommunication harassment, aggravated menace, and complicity. The filing asked the county municipal court to affirm that there is probable cause and issue arrest warrants against Trump and Vance. They're persistent and relentless, even in the face of the governor and the mayor saying this is false. That shows intent, said Chandra. It's knowing, willfully flouting of criminal law. Stephen Chung, the communications director for the Trump-Vance campaign, said President Trump is rightfully highlighting the failed immigration system that Vice President Kamala Harris overseen. No, that's not exactly what he did. He told people that these immigrants, these legal immigrants, were eating people's pets, and as a result of that, they have been threatened. Schools have been shut down. There have been 30 plus bomb threats. So yeah, it's not highlighting the failed immigration system. You're just doing stochastic terrorism. The 15,000 to 20,000 Haitian immigrants who arrived in Springfield over the past several years, in many cases after being recruited to local jobs, have been granted temporary protection status to be in the U.S. legally. More than 30 bomb threats were directed at state and local government buildings and schools, prompting closures, the assignment of additional law enforcement protection, and security cameras. Good for them, indeed. Some of the city's Haitian residents have also feared for their safety as public vitriol grew, and Mayor Rob Rue has received death threats. If it were anyone else other than Trump and Vance who had done what they have done, wreak havoc on Springfield, resulting in bomb threats, evacuated and closed government buildings and schools, and threats to the mayor and his family, they would have been arrested by now. They are not above the law. That's true. Chandra said U.S. Supreme Court's July ruling granting ex-presidents broad immunity from criminal prosecution does not apply in this case because Trump is currently a private citizen, and Vance did not amplify the rumors that members of the Springfield's 15,000-member Haitian community were eating people's pets in his capacity as a senator. Correct. Will anything actually come out of this? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But the fact of the matter is, they are right. I mean, you know, we were talking about what type of legal recourse was even available to hold people like this accountable. I think that this should be used more because, like, this is not okay. You can't just come into a town as a politician, influencer, anyone with power, and just sow chaos like that. Like, you are messing with people's lives. You are putting people in danger. You are inspiring bomb threats. Like, this is not okay. This is not okay at all. So yeah, I'm glad that there is some kind of avenue. Whether or not that results in anything is yet to be seen. But if something does, I guess we'll follow up on that.
The mysterious but hype us.
Nope. Let me go back. Sorry, folks. I lost you for a second. All right, there you go. I believe we talked about this story previously. Or maybe it was a different incident because this has happened in a couple places. But this story is pretty freaking dark. Anyone that tells you that, like, overturning Roe v. Wade wasn't a big deal is flat out lying or delusional. Quote, she was accused of murder after losing a pregnancy. The South Carolina woman now tells her story. Yeah, indeed. Good call. Amari Marsh had just finished her junior year at South Carolina State University when she received a text message from law enforcement officer. Sorry it has taken this long for the paperwork to come back, but I finally had the final report and wanted to see if you and your boyfriend could meet me Wednesday afternoon for a follow-up. Marsh understood that the report was related to a pregnancy loss she'd experienced in March during the second trimester. She said she unexpectedly gave birth in the middle of the night while on the toilet on her off-campus apartment. She remembers screaming and panicking and said the bathroom was covered in blood. I couldn't breathe, said Marsh, now 23. The next day when she woke up in the hospital, she said law enforcement asked her questions. And then a few weeks later, she said she received the call saying she could collect her daughter's ashes. At that point, she said she didn't know she was being criminally investigated. Yet 3 months after her loss, Marsh was charged with murder-homicide by child abuse, a law enforcement record shows. She spent 22 days at the Orangeburg Calhoun Regional Detention Center, where she initially held to be without bond, facing 20 years to life in prison. This August, 13 months after she was released from jail to house arrest with an ankle monitor, Marsh was cleared by a grand jury and her case will not proceed to trial. Her story raises questions about state reproductive rights in this country, disparities in healthcare and pregnancy criminalization, especially for black women like Marsh. More than 2 years after the Supreme Court issued its Dobbs decision, which allowed states to outlaw abortion, the climate around these topics remained highly charged. What state? South Carolina. South Carolina. What the F indeed. Marsh's case also highlights what's at stake in November. 61% of voters want Congress to pass a federal law restoring the nationwide right to abortion, according to a recent poll by KFF, the Health Policy Research, polling, and news organizations that includes KFF Health News. These issues could shape who wins the White House and controls Congress, and will come to a head for voters in the 10 states where ballot initiatives about abortion will be decided. That's where it counts, folks. That's where it counts. This case shows how pregnancy loss is being criminalized around the country, said U.S. Representative James Clyburn, a Democrat and graduate of South Carolina University, whose congressional district includes Orangeburg. This is not a slogan when we talk about this being an election about the restoration of our freedoms. When Marsh took an at-home pregnancy test in November of 2022, the positive results scared her. I didn't know what to do, and I didn't want to let my parents down. I was in a state of shock. She didn't seek prenatal care, she said, because she kept having her period. She thought the pregnancy test might have been wrong. An incident report followed by the Orangeburg County Sheriff's Office on the day she lost the pregnancy stated that in January 2023, Marsh made an appointment at Planned Parenthood clinic to take the planned C pill, which would possibly cause an abortion to occur. The report doesn't specify whether she took or even obtained the drug. During an interview at her parents' house, Marsh denied going to Planned Parenthood or taking medicine to induce abortion. I've never been in trouble, I've never been pulled over, and I've never been arrested. I never even got written up in school. She played clarinet as a section leader in the marching band and once performed at Carnegie Hall. In college, she was majoring in biology and planned to become a doctor. South Carolina State Representative Seth Ross, a Democrat in Columbia and one of Marsha's attorneys, called it a real tragic case. It's our position that she lost a child through a natural cause. It doesn't matter. The fact that this was even being investigated is pretty it's pretty freaking wild. The fact that there was an actual investigation where all of this was brought up is wild. Yeah, Gilead, a real life Handmaid's Tale. Exactly. She went to the emergency on February of 23. Marsh said she experienced abdominal pain that was way worse than regular menstrual cramps. She went to the emergency room, the investigation record shows, but left after several hours without being treated. Back at home, she said the pain grew worse. She returned to the hospital, this time by ambulance. Hospital staffers crowd around her and said none of them explained what was happening to her. Bright lights shone in her face, and I was scared. Yeah, but she committed the ultimate crime of getting pregnant and losing the fetus. If anyone wants to watch that show, hit me up on Discord. According to the Sheriff's Department report, hospital staffers told Marsha she was pregnant and that a fetal heartbeat could be detected. Freaked out and confused, she chose to leave the hospital a second time and her pain had subsided. In the middle of the night, she said her pain started again. She woke up, recalled an intense urge to use the bathroom, and when I did, the child came. I screamed because I was scared and I didn't know what was going on. Her boyfriend at the time called 911. The emergency dispatcher kept telling me to take the baby out of the toilet. She recalled I couldn't because I couldn't even keep myself together. The first medical responders detected sign of life and tried to perform life-saving measures as they headed to the regional medical center in Orangeburg, the incident report said. But at the hospital, Marsh learned that her infant girl had not survived. I kept asking to see the baby. They wouldn't let me. The following day, a sheriff deputy told Marsh in her hospital room that the incident was under investigation, but said Marsh was currently not in any trouble. According to the report, Marsh responded she did not feel though as she did anything wrong. More than 10 weeks later, nothing about the text message he received from the officer in mid-May implied that a follow-up meeting about the final report was urgent. Well, it doesn't have to be Wednesday, it can be next week or another week, the officer wrote in an exchange that Marsh shared with KFF Health News. I just have to meet with y'all in person before I can close the case out, and I'm sorry. No problem, I understand, she wrote back. She didn't even tell her parents or consider hiring a lawyer. I didn't think I needed one. Marsha, yeah, just to be clear, police are not your friends, okay? When they tell you that things are okay and they're just there to talk, they're not, okay? Do not ever, 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 ever be under the impression that the police are there to be on your side. Marsh arranged to meet the officer on June 2nd of 2023. During that meeting, she was arrested and her boyfriend was not charged. Her father, Herman Marsh, the band director at a local public school in Orangeburg, thought it was a bad joke until reality set in. I told my wife, I said, we need to get an attorney now. So the Republicans want all women to not have sex until married. That would make many more MAGA incels. Right. The thing is, they just want to make sure that they control every single aspect, including what goes on in the bedroom. And if it doesn't go according to how they want it to go, then it's bad. When Marsh lost her pregnancy on March 1st of 2023, women in South Carolina could still obtain an abortion until 20 weeks beyond fertilization or the gestational age of 22 weeks. Later that spring, South Carolina's Republican-controlled legislature passed a ban that would prohibit providers from performing abortions after fetal cardiac activity can be detected, with some exceptions made for rape, incest, or when the mother's life is in jeopardy. That law does not allow criminal penalties for women who seek or obtain abortions. Solicitor David Pascal, a Democrat elected to South Carolina's 1st Judicial Circuit, whose office handled Marsh's prosecution, said the issue of abortion and reproductive rights weren't relevant to this case. The arrest warrant alleges that not moving the infant from the toilet at urging of the dispatcher was ultimately a proximate cause for the daughter's death. The warrant also cites the cause of death as respiratory complication due to premature delivery stemming from maternal chlamydia infection. Marcia said she was unaware of the infection until the pregnancy loss. Pascal said the question raised by investigators was whether Marsh failed to render aid to the infant before the emergency responders arrived at the apartment. Ultimately, the grand jury decided there wasn't probable cause to proceed with the criminal trial, and I respect the grand jury's opinion. Am I being detained or am I free to go? I'm not answering any questions and then lawyer up. Correct. Marsh's case is a prime example of how pregnancy loss can become a criminal investigation very quickly, said Dana Sussman, Senior Vice President of Pregnancy Justice, a nonprofit that tracks such cases. While similar cases predate the Supreme Court's Dobbs decision, they seem to be increasing. The Dobbs decision unleashed and empowered prosecutors to look at pregnant people as suspect class and pregnancy as at pregnancy loss as a suspicious event. Right, which is wild. Like, do you honestly think that under any other circumstance, like, there would be a criminal investigation? Like, on what honest grounds would this even fall under, right? Local and national anti-abortion groups seized on Marsha's story when her name and mugshot were published by the Times and Democrat of Orangeburg. Holly Gatling, executive director of South Carolina's Citizens for Life, wrote a blog post about Marsha titled, "In part, Orangeburg Newborn Dies in Toilet," that was published by National Right to Life. Gatling and National Right to Life did not respond to interview for requests. Marsha said she made the mistake of Googling herself when she was released from jail. It was heartbreaking to see all those things. I cried so many times. Some physicians are also afraid of being painted as criminals. The nonprofit for Physicians for Human Rights published a report on September 17th about Florida's 6-week abortion ban that included input from 24 doctors, many of whom expressed fear about the criminal penalties imposed by the law. The healthcare systems are afraid, said Michelle Heisler, medical director for the nonprofit. There are all these gray areas, so everyone's just trying to be extra careful. Unfortunately, as a result, patients are suffering. Chelsea Daniels, a family medicine doctor who works for Planned Parenthood in Miami and performs abortion, said early September she saw a patient who had a miscarriage during the first trimester of her pregnancy. The patient had been to 4 hospitals and brought in ultrasound scans performed at each facility. No one would touch her, she said. Each ultrasound scan she brought in represents, on the other side, a really terrified doctor who's doing their best to interpret the really murky legal language around abortion care and miscarriage management, which are the same things essentially. Florida is one of the 10 states with a ballot measure related to abortion in November, although it's the only southern state with one. Others are Montana, Missouri, and Maryland. Zipporah Sumter, one of Marsha's lawyers, said the law enforcement system treated her client as a criminal instead of a grieving mother. This is not a criminal matter. It was not just the fraught climate around pregnancy that caused Marsha to suffer. Race definitely played a factor, said Sumter, who does not believe Marsha received compassionate care when she went to the hospital for the first or second time. It is BS. The management of Regional Medical Center, where Marsha was treated, changed shortly after her hospitalization. The hospital is now managed by Medical University of South Carolina, and its spokesman declined to comment on Marsha's case. Historically, birth outcomes for black women in Orangeburg County, where Marsha lost her pregnancy, have ranked among the worst in South Carolina. From 2020 through 2022, the average mortality rate for black infants born in Orange County were more than 3 times as high as the average rate for white infants statewide. Today, Marsha is still trying to process all that happened. She moved back in with her parents and seeing a therapist. She's taking classes at a local community college and hopes to re-enroll in South Carolina State University to earn a 4-year degree. She still wants to become a doctor. She keeps her daughter's ashes on a bookshelf in her bedroom. Through all of this, I found my strength, my voice, and I want to help other young women that are in my position now and will be in the future. I always had faith that God was going to be on my side, but I didn't know how I was going to go with the justice system we have today. That poor lady indeed. She is lucky she lived. Indeed. We have some good news, folks. Regarding the election, House Speaker Johnson axes Trump's voting restrictions in new government funding bill. The Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson announced a new temporary government funding bill proposed with key amendments from the original bill he put forward this month. The new proposal goes against Donald Trump's wishes and makes some concessions to Democrats. The new bill would fund the government through December 20th and does not include any part of the SAVE Act, the Trump-backed election security proposal that would require people to show proof of citizenship to register as a voter. The previous version of Johnson's bill, which Trump preferred, was attached to the SAVE Act and would have funded the government through March of 2025. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson on Sunday announced a new temporary government funding proposal with key amendments from the original bill he put forward earlier this month, going against former President Trump's wishes and making some concessions to Dems. The new bill would fund the government through December 20th and does not include any part of the SAVE Act, which is the Trump-backed election security proposal that would require people to show citizenship to register as a voter. In a letter to colleagues on Sunday, Johnson said the, quote, very narrow, bare-bones proposal would include only the extensions that are absolutely necessary to avoid a government shutdown. Congressional Republicans and Democrats have 8 days to strike a deal on government funding. If no resolution is reached, the government will go into partial shutdown October 1st at 12:01 a.m., just over a month away from the November election, when party control will be up for grabs in both the White House and Congress. While this is not the solution any of us prefer, it's the most prudent path forward to under the present circumstances, Johnson wrote in a letter. As history taught us, and current polling affirms, shutting the government down less than 40 days from a fateful election would be an act of political malpractice. The new bill will likely to get to the House floor by Wednesday, according to the House Republican aides. The 3-month spending plan also includes $231 million for Secret Service, responding to the increasing pressure from the agency for more resources after another apparent assassination attempt against Trump last Sunday. The previous version of Johnson's bill would have funded the government until March of 2025, meaning funding levels would already be set in place for the newly elected president and Congress. It also came with the SAVE Act attached. Johnson is such a cheeky little weasel. Yep. Trump preferred that iteration of the spending resolution. He wrote on Truth Social earlier this month that if Republicans don't get absolute assurances on election security, they should not hesitate to shut the government down. Yeah, you guys do that. See how that works out. But the 6-month stopgap funding the bill paired with the SAVE Act struggled to get off the ground within House Republican caucus. Some GOP members were against any notion of funding the government on a temporary basis. Others took issue with the specific funding allocations, which would have been fixed for 6 months if the bill passed. With the razor-thin majority in the House, Johnson could only afford to lose 4 GOP votes to pass the bill within his own chamber. Since we fell a bit short of the goal line, the alternative plan is now required. Democrats also pledged to vote against the 6-month bill, coupled with the SAVE Act. That meant the proposal would have been dead on arrival in the Democratic joint majority Senate. By dropping the SAVE Act and introducing a 3-month bill, Johnson's new funding proposal reflects a key compromise with Democrats. President Biden and Democratic Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer had both advocated for a shorter-term proposal with no bills paired so that come January, the newly elected governing body could begin with a clean slate. So the takeaway here is that the SAVE Act was jettisoned, and I think that's the important part. This is most likely the path that's going to happen. They're just going to temporarily fund the government and kick the can down the road, as it were, until next year. But the important part of that article is that the SAVE Act got jettisoned, and that is a good thing. That is a very good thing. That is a lowercase w. All right, folks, we got a 12-second clip. Okay, and then we're out of here. Here is Donald Trump channeling his inner Hitlerism.
Happening. If I don't win this election, and the Jewish people would really have a lot to do with that if that happens, because at 40%, that means 60% of the people are voting for the enemy. Happening. If I don't win
he's
this
alluding
election,
to a conspiracy where, like, if he loses the election, it's going to be the fault of Jewish people. Amazing. Oy vey, indeed. That is a lowercase w in italics using a 6-point font. Yeah, so here's a question. Like, in before, like, you know, these people tried to, like, pretzel themselves. Oh, that was only a 12-second clip. Okay. In what context, in what broader context could you extrapolate that and make that okay? Think about it. How could you make that, how can you extrapolate that and make that okay? And make that statement okay? Because it was very clear what he said. He said that if he loses the election, because 40% of Jewish people are voting for him, which means 60% are voting for the enemy, as he says. Like, what in what context could that possibly be made to be okay? And not sound like freaking 1930s Germany. It's not. It's just okay to his cult. Correct. That could be very well dangerous. Indeed. Indeed, because think about it. If he's saying that immigrants are eating pets in a small, in Springfield, Ohio, has triggered bomb threats. Imagine him pushing the idea that, like, Jewish people caused him to lose the election. That is some serious ish right there. Absolutely freaking disgusting. And unfortunately, the cult will justify it. They'll say it's okay or ignore it. I mean, heck, they don't care. That just with this guy's one claim, he has single-handedly sowed chaos in one particular town. They don't care. This is all more the reason why this guy needs to lose. Without a doubt. All the more reason he needs to lose. This entire movement, this entire MAGA movement, just needs to go politically. All right, folks, it's about to be 7 o'clock, so I got to get out of here. I got to run to the store and grab some things before. I'll keep you guys updated as to what's going on the Discord. So you should definitely join the Discord if you haven't done so. If you haven't done so already, I highly recommend to join. I appreciate all of you guys hanging out. Thank you all for stopping by. I'm making tacos. Look at that, Taco Tuesday. Taco Tuesday. Hit up the Discord. I'll definitely keep you guys updated as to what's going on with the storm. If it knocks out the power Thursday, then it is what it is. Okay. If it knocks out the power on Thursday, it is what it is. The stream will be proceeding as normal unless otherwise. Thank you all. I hope Buddy feels better too. Yes, I appreciate that. So as I was saying on the Discord, Mr. Buddy the cat had he gave us a scare. I'm not gonna lie. I was starting to get a little nervous. Buddy the cat gave us a health scare. He stopped eating, and it was just sudden. Like, he just stopped eating, and like, so for context, Buddy eats like. He's like Garfield, okay? Like Buddy is like Garfield. He will, anything that he gets an opportunity to eat, he will eat. He loves any kind of canned food we give him. He pretty much, like, he'll eat the other cat's food if they don't finish it. So pretty much like he's like Garfield. And the fact that, like, a couple nights ago he just refused to eat when I woke up, all his food was there, was kind of like a red flag. And then he stayed in one place for a while. He was just kind of walking back and forth. I was like, well, maybe something's up with him. I don't know. But day 2, he was not eating still, and like, oh, that was getting scary. Because I don't know, I don't know much about vet health. All I know is that he's not eating, and we talked to the vet, and we brought him in earlier today, and yeah, definitely something didn't agree with him according to the vet, but no cause for any serious concern as of right now. Buddy got his medicine. Buddy got some medicine to settle his stomach a little bit, and we did get him to eat a little bit, so that's a good sign. Maybe he's just gonna be like this for the next day or two. So much rest for Mr. Buddy, and he's just gonna hang out. It was probably Vaquita threatening him. Oh man. Vaquita's living her best life, because Buddy has been just kind of laying down all day. So she has not been bothered. She has been queen of the house. Yeah, that's what happened to Mr. Buddy. All right, folks, I gotta get out of here. I gotta grab some food, grab some stuff. As I was saying, I'll keep you guys posted on the Discord to see what's going on with everything. Thank you all for stopping by. Thank you for the biddies, the sub. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the follows. You guys are what makes this channel grow. Keep it up, folks. Keep it up. You guys are keeping this channel going. Thank you all. I appreciate it. Thank you for the folks on YouTube as well. Keep liking the stream. I see you. Join the Discord, folks. We are here Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be back tomorrow, unless otherwise. We'll be back tomorrow. And this Saturday, we'll be doing the movie night. God Save the Queen. We'll be doing the movie night. We're thinking Crazy Rich Asians. That's if you have any suggestions, folks, post it on the Discord. That's what it's there for. But we'll be doing that on Saturday around 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you, Heath. Thank you, Michael Hasser, for modding the chat. All right, let's. It's time to go. It's time to skedaddle and grab some food. I'm getting hungry and tired. It's been a night, folks. It has been a night. Thank you all for stopping by. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya! Yeah, we could do a poll. See what people want. See what the people want! Alright, hang tight, folks. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.